Well. Today started differently for sure. I slept until 7 o'clock instead of waking up at 4. And but I feel energized today. Had a crazy dream, but it's okay. It was one of those dreams that woke me up, and I was like immediately like, oh, gotta get to the gym. It was still able to fit in my cold shower and my dry brushing, the lymphatic dry brushing, emphasizing it because whenever I'm doing the transcribing for the captions, it always gets it wrong. Sometimes it gets it wrong. And had some green tea. This is now like my 9th day without coffee, which is quite interesting. My stomach feels better, guys. I was really feeling that something about the espressos was just causing me to feel very irritated at my stomach. Could also been other things like spicy foods, but for now, I'm removing just that one thing. I thought it was going to be super hard with training, but I found out that actually that's probably just placebo or just a temporary raise in energy. So yesterday, I would say that I felt a pretty consistent baseline of energy. It wasn't super high and energized, and I did feel overall tired, but that was how it was the whole day. And I think that's the point, to not have these spikes. At least that's what Brian Johnson speaks about often. So yeah, in the thick of pushing some projects forward at work, and not bad. We're getting some feedback from some really big industry people about our product, so that's fun. And I tell my team often, I say, guys, we have to run fast in the direction of feedback and criticism because it's free education. It really is. So we're going to get that free education. Worst case, those people are wrong. Best case, they spot something that we didn't see coming, and we can reverse engineer success by knowing what we don't know. So it's a win. And that doesn't take away from the people who are excited about what we built. And even the people that have given feedback and criticism, they're excited. Don't get me wrong. But they're just saying, hey, here's where you should be careful. Here's where you might be getting things wrong. But it's crazy. Like, people are so generous, so willing to help and connect when they understand what you do. So I think my lesson to any creator, founder, builder making something right now is, you might feel like people are turning you down and they don't like you or something. It's not that. It's that you got to work on the messaging. You got to get the message right. You have to know who you're talking to. You have to know what they care about. And a lot of that comes from a lot of listening, a lot of meetings, taking a lot of feedback, and you have to give yourself time to think. I had a crazy breakthrough idea yesterday, and the only reason I had it is because I forced myself to sit down, read a book, no other noises or anything, and I was just sitting there, right? After I read and processing what I read, and then it hit me. And I'm telling you, that would not have happened if I was in my office, music up, in the grind. You got to be able to take a step back and think strategically. So in summary, ladies and gentlemen, get your messaging right. Have time to think. Really, silence. Silence is so important. And sleep good, eat good, stay hydrated. And if you are curious to see how mentally tough you are, remove the things that give you an escape from dealing with uncomfortable feelings. That could be some form of drugs like weed or cocaine or whatever, or it could be pornography, it can be vaping, it could be scrolling on social media, it could be an addiction to an emotional type of drug like drama. If you remove those things, you'll find that a lot of it is designed to just be impulses, so you don't have to confront what the fuck is really going on inside of you. And all that is just noise that keeps you from the signal of your genius. It keeps you from the signal, the source of what this beautiful universe has available. The answers have always been there right in front of us, but there's a journey we have to go through of refining ourselves. And I have not completely figured it out. I'm just in this process of surrendering to my true self, not fighting it anymore, removing my noise, my distractions, showing up daily to the work of self-improvement, the work of empathy for others, the work of listening, the work of defining through action who I am and who I'm becoming, the work of building a multi-billion-dollar business, the work of massive social impact to billions and billions of people. None of that happens if you have just noise all the time in your head. I'm not talking about it has to be meditation or something. I'm just saying, consider it. What are your distractions? What are your attachments that are actually just pacifying you and keeping you from the truth about what the F you need to get done? I'm also realizing using certain words gets my video suppressed or at least not seen by certain people. So I want to work on cleaning up the language, because one thing I read from a book is we need to treat whatever we have in front of us like a gift. We need to do it with all of our heart and soul, as if it is a gift given to us by the universe, because it is. And so if this is a gift that I want to reach billions of people, then I should think about language and accessibility. I don't need to be vulgar for my message to resonate. Perfect timing. That's my trend. Peace out.
So you all tell me if I'm wrong here, okay? About 4 years ago, I had a so-called mentor, a person that also called himself my brother, come to me and say, man, I see how you are navigating your life and your business, and you have a lot of potential, and you're doing really cool things right now. But there's a book that I need, that I think you would benefit from reading. And he says, I'm going to give it to you as a gift. Now, he said this, and I was really curious about what the book might be. I was like, well, tell me what it is. He's like, don't worry, it's a gift. I'm going to give it to you. I was like, okay. At the time, we were working on a TV show, right? So both as essentially producers, executive producers for this TV show that was for Amazon Prime. Now, some time passes, probably 2 months. I'm like, hey, remember that book? He's like, yeah, but I'm gonna get it for you. I'm like, someone says that there's a book that could be game changing for me and for my trajectory, and says they'll get it as a gift, but they don't. They keep putting it off. A detail, nothing major. Then I said, well, what's the book title? Just so I can start to learn a bit about it. He's like, okay, it's called The 48 Laws of Power. I was like, oh, that's that book by Robert Greene, the seduction expert. He was like, yeah. He was like, but I want to get it from you. We finished the TV show. We were still pretty much living in the same city, but this person travels a lot. And finally, I'm just like, fuck it. I'm going to wait. So I bought the book. And then I told him, I was like, I just showed him. I was like, hey, mira, look, compré el libro. I bought the book. He was upset. I couldn't understand it. I considered other possibilities, like maybe he has some wisdom I don't and knows something. Maybe I'm not ready for this kind of material. But that was weird. It was a red flag for me. Some time goes by. We start to work on another TV show that was actually produced, financed, funded by me, by one of my companies, let's call it the media division. And this person, I realized after reading the book, was using the methodologies, the laws of power on me the entire time. But what I couldn't understand is why he would tell me about the book, knowing that I'm a very go-getter type of person. I don't wait on nobody. And behind every one of those laws, there's a cautionary tale. It's not about blindly using it. It's about also knowing the inverse of it. And I think Robert's objective more than anything was for people who are at the mercy of these power games and become aware of it and decide if and when they allow themselves to be who they are in that power dynamic. Are they the master or are they subservient? And so I just reflected on my relationship with him, and then I look at how he treats other people. Very successful person, by the way. Very successful. The ugly truth as well that many people won't want to hear is that these games exist. If you're not at least aware, then you are a piece on someone's chessboard, But if you actually want to do something meaningful in this life, you have to also be willing to create a game of your own, your rules, your dynamics. You have to learn about things called leverage and timing. But back to my original question, was I tripping or out of line for finding it weird that this person, to me, I could interpret it as him dangling this resource in front of me as some type of incentive for me to keep doing the things that he wanted me to do? Which, if anyone knows television world, many times it's a very thankless job. You're either putting in your own money up front or a lot of time, no pay, lots of back end rewards, much like a startup company. I built another startup, a tech company. So that wasn't new for me. I know how to keep my costs low, reinvest everything that I get back into the growth of the business. But it's just really strange to see that play out. So now I have another situation where someone says to me, "Damn, there's this book that I just finished, and it's about someone that you really admire, and I want to get this book for you. Let me get it." And I'm like, well, first of all, if someone buys me a gift, definitely literature, something that's going to expand my mind. Doesn't have to be self-help. It can expand my mind, be something outside of my wheelhouse, right? But this person, whom I'm very close with, without even realizing it, to me, an observer of laws, of power laws, was doing the same thing because on multiple occasions, said, "Yeah, man, I'm getting you this book." I was like, "Okay, we're gonna even on the same call. Yeah, let me just go to Amazon, put your info in. Chucks, nah, it's not working. I'll get to it some other day." You see that I'm in the trenches building something that's going to be life-changing money for everyone involved. Life-changing. And you come across a tool that you think can help me level up to ensure that we hit our mark. And here we are 4 or 5 months later, and that book still hasn't arrived. So what did I do? I bought it myself. I bought the book myself. And the craziest thing was that I had purchased another book from this young author out of the UK, a Black guy. And that book had arrived and I had to pick it up from like the European equivalent of like DHL or something. And then I go pick up the book thinking that it's this book, the other one, from this person. It wasn't. And I was surprised at myself how disappointed I was. I didn't even want to read the book of this young brother. Maybe there's some real gems in there. Another perspective that can expand my horizons. He's arguably more successful than I am in business and in marketing. But I think I was just really influenced. So it became a bit of a, if we want to call it, some kind of trauma. Maybe I'm wrong about this second person because this person might not consciously be aware of how much literature actually means to me. I sat in libraries and read in my youth. That was the outlet, the escape from poverty. I was free from my external world because I was free in my mind. I was the one that would check out 10 books, take them home, read all of them. I was the person in high school reading the dictionary to expand my vocabulary. And so it could just be a circumstantial sensitivity that I have. It may be a lack of awareness that other people have, or my own issues with expectations around if someone says that they're going to do something, that they do it. And haven't I also been someone in life that has, for whatever reasons, not been able to fulfill my word? Now, let's not let these two off the hook just yet, because what I can say about this first one is that someone who I hosted in my home, someone who I brought paying customers to, someone that I spent money with, in the end, participated in a defamation campaign in an attempt to try and ruin my relationships with vendors, brands, investors over a couple €100? Power dynamics. He didn't succeed, of course, because I've kept all of my receipts and I always communicated with him about where things were in the past. Anytime there was a challenging moment, what founder doesn't have them? But to kick someone when they're down. And he did it at a time where I was literally homeless. I was sleeping in the streets and I still was building this business because sometimes in business, your expenses are so high, doesn't matter how much you cut. If you're burning 60 to 100,000 a month, if there's a cash freeze, there's a cash freeze. It doesn't matter if it's because clients paid late. It doesn't matter the reason. If this person participated in trying to bring me down, and I even made payments to him. And I just can't help but think about one of those first red flags that I saw with this book. And I'm just knowing the book, I'm thinking, I'm like, knowing the laws of power, like, you should have really made sure you killed me. You should have made sure I was dead because I will never forget how ugly of a person this person was. And the wildest part about it is that he isolated me. He turned even some of my own family members against me, telling them lies and telling me lies about what they said about me. And I speak to them and they're like, Evo, we've known you since you were 14 years old. Really? And then another colleague, one of our co-producers of the TV show that I funded, said, I never said those things about you, that I think that this project is not worth anything and is going to fail. But that's what this other person told me. And I believed him. And this was someone that I paid money, right? My co-producer, I paid him money, him and his staff, to produce this TV show. On a budget, on a discount, sure. I put a lot of money into the cities that I lived in. And so to see these kind of behaviors and to have some type of reference point, a tool to see how these power dynamics play out, it's pretty wild. Now, you never know what's going on in someone's head. Things aren't always as they seem. You can look at something, it can be a different thing. But anyways, am I tripping? And by the way, I'm not, it's just business, right? It's just business. I know better now. Maybe this first person's goal was to give me some bruises so that I can wake the fuck up and understand that at higher levels, the stakes are higher. Maybe the consequences are much graver. It doesn't matter if I intended to do something or not. I'm going to let him speak for himself someday in the future. Tell me, have you ever seen these type of dynamics in your relationships, to people playing these type of games? Are you even aware that power dynamics exist? Have you read the book 48 Laws of Power? Have you even been close to power? I have. I have. I have billionaires in my phone book that I speak to monthly. I have politicians that operate at some of the highest levels of government in different countries. I spend time with delegates and ambassadors from different countries because to have a successful startup, you have to have a presence and good relationships in all these vertical spaces, right? Government, finance, law. And so, yeah, maybe I'm tripping. Anyways, today is it's February 11th. Yeah, today's the 11th. Yesterday was very productive work-wise, and I felt pretty good even. I'm off caffeine or coffee, let's say. I might go for a nice matcha today. I've been on green tea, so I can't say I've been off caffeine. I've been off of coffee, espressos. My energy is a bit more even, and we're going to hit the work today. All right, much love, you all. Thank you for watching this. If you know this, that someone who could benefit from watching this, share it with them. I will be sharing shorter versions, shorts, but right now I'm just building the baseline content for this channel. Thank you to my team members, employees, investors, clients, users, partners in the industry for challenging us to build this the right way. Thank you to me for not giving up when things got hard, and they will continue to get hard and more complicated. I hope that you look back and you watch this video, D. Watch the video. And I want to thank my challenges and my adversity for beating the shit out of me, for beating the ego out of me so they can become purified and strong in the right way. Peace out, y'all.
It's arrived. Definitely not making the same mistake that Pop Smoke made. Letting people see the address of a home invasion. My mentor has arrived. Hardcover edition by the same brother that wrote Steve Jobs. It's by Walter Isaacson. I was introduced to Walter Isaacson's work back in 2014 when 2011 when I went off to university, 13, 14 years ago, 15 years ago. And I had the CD version. I would listen to it in my car. And I listened to it on my way out to my first job out of university at Sonos Inc. And well, now time for another adventure. Here we go. I've heard it's a page turner and it makes it right into my library, you know? All right, we're on with the day. I love books. I'm really excited.